Okay, stairwell I got high. Clear. Moving. Okay, next shot. Downstairs. Gotta get up there quick. Move. Wait the door. Wait the door.
Ready to die, bitch?
Hi, I'm Joel Persinger. I'm the Gun Guy. Thank you very much for all of your support of GunGuyTV. I am super duper grateful. I've got Sam Paredes from Gun Owners of California. He's going to talk to us about what's going on in California, the election, why we should be voting rather than ignoring the whole darn thing, and a whole lot of other stuff. Before we do that, I want to remind you that you can help me keep the channel going by supporting GunGuyTV Crew. You can join GunGuyTV Crew on either Locals or Patreon, or you can just click on the link, or you can go to GunGuyTVCrew.org. Likewise, if you would go here to either Rumble or X and subscribe there and follow me there, I'd really appreciate it. YouTube tends to shadow ban my videos, sometimes delete them entirely. And so I'm really not focused on YouTube at all. My main home is Rumble, and I'm also publishing videos on X. I am publishing them on YouTube for you, but there are a lot of times when I'm producing videos that don't end up on YouTube because YouTube would shadow ban or delete them. So you'll get all of my content if you go to Rumble and X. There are links in the description. All right, let's go talk to Sam. First of all, before you even start, I want to say to Californians, even though you feel that your vote doesn't work or it's meaningless, feelings may be real, but they're not accurate. Vote, 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 vote. Now, you can only vote once. Don't vote a whole bunch of times. But do go out, please, and vote, and drag all your friends to get them to vote, too. Okay, Sam, let us know. What's going on with our gun rights, wherever you would like?
First of all, it's always a pleasure and honor to be with you, and I have missed you. I'm glad you had the ability to take a few days off and recenter your brain and your heart and your soul with family. And so welcome back. And yeah, you hear all about elections, and you ask us what we're doing. Well, we're doing elections, and even a little bit of elections. And it is kind of the thing that we have to be doing right now, because this election, we've heard it so many times, is the single most important elections of our lifetime. Especially if you are a supporter of the Second Amendment. We have on the presidential ticket one who has confiscated guns in her past as the DA of San Francisco, supported an outright ban on the possession of handguns in the cities of San Francisco, voted as the most anti-gun attorney general and that's saying something, that California's ever had. And then as a United States senator, and now as a candidate for president, she's somehow trying to deny that she doesn't want to ban handguns. She doesn't want to ban anybody's guns and all that. Nothing can be further from the truth. Her track record says it all. So, and on the other side, we have the Orange Man, as they lovingly call him, who came and spoke at sent a message to Gun Owners of America members saying that he is going to completely and totally support the Second Amendment and is going to follow GOA's lead during his presidency. When he needs to talk about the Second Amendment, he's going to be talking to us. And as you well know, we are no compromise, period, nothing. We know that, we've had issues with him in the past in his previous presidency, but he's made a commitment, and I think he's a different man, more experienced, understands Washington a little better than ever before, and the choice that we have at the top of the ticket is important. Now, people say in California, well, California's going to vote for what's her name, but President Trump candidate Trump is trying to win the popular vote And so even though we may not give him California for the Electoral College, we will give him popular votes, which will strengthen his overall victory nationwide. That's why it's so singularly important that we go out and vote, and not just for the president. We've got a Senate race here, United States Senate race here. We've got congressional districts. California may decide whether the Congress is a Republican Congress or a Democrat Congress. We've got some very important races here. And of course, we have state Senate and state assembly races throughout the state of California. And if anybody wants information on who the good guys are and who the bad guys are, go to our website, gunownersca.com, or and more directly, go to gocpac.com. That's gocpac.com. There you will have a listing of where the members of the legislature stand on the Second Amendment and all the candidates. We will have GOA's recommendations on federal candidates, and we will have recommendations on judges. So in one place you can take a look and gain information for your own districts and decide as to who is pro-Constitution, pro-Second Amendment, and who is not. So that is a super important tool that we have. So get out and vote. You got to get out and vote. You know, here we're 100% mail-in ballot in California. Take your ballot to the county registrar's office, the register of voters. If you trust the post office, take it to the post office. Don't put it in your mailbox because, you know, mailbox pilferers is not unheard of.
And then make sure that you check that your vote has been counted, received, and counted. There is a website so that you can do that. I don't have a link to it currently, but if you just do a quick Google search, you'll find it. Interestingly enough, I voted pretty early, and I actually got an email from the San Diego County Registrar of Voters saying that my vote had been received and counted. So it's important that you follow up with it, because if it isn't counted or it isn't received, you can submit another ballot. It's just a little bit of a process, but you want to make sure. I think hand delivering it is better. But if you mail it, make sure that you follow up and that you make sure it was received by them and that it was counted. Because if it was received and something was with your signature or whatever, you want to get that fixed, whatever the process is to get your vote counted. Mm-hmm. Super, super important. And just in California, by the way, it's not gun related. It's just good to know. If a proposition or anything like that says it's a bond issue, that's a credit card for the state to borrow against you so that you have a big debt to pay it back. Yes. It's not free money. It's a big credit card. We're already in debt. If it's a bond issue, my suggestion is vote no. But anyway, that's
we also have ballot measures on recommendations. My personal recommendations and explanations as to why I'm supporting or opposing them. I am opposing most of them. And as you said, Joel, a bond measure, we get sold a bill of goods all the time. How many times have we seen road improvement, road tax, a bond to improve the infrastructure and all of that stuff? Well, the fact of the matter is when those bonds are passed, they do create a pool of money that the legislature can pilfer to pay for their pet projects. And none of the money gets into tarmac. None of it goes into the highways or the roads and stuff like that, or very little of it does, enough so that they can say, see, we're working on your roads. But the fact of the matter is all of these pots can be pilfered by the state legislature, and they do so regularly. So don't be sold a bill of goods. And they're asking for money for things that they should be doing anyway.
And oftentimes, let me add, things they've already asked for money. How many times are they going to say, we want to do a bond issue to fix the roads?
Or schools.
How many times are they going to do, I want to do a bond issue to support the schools? They never support the schools. They never fix the roads. They use the money for other stuff. My wife and I just went to our place in Arizona. It was beautiful. It was nice to be out on our property away from the world. You know what that's like because you live on a big property. It was nice to be in a big property where it was quiet. Nobody was pestering us. But when we drove down the road, not the dirt roads, even the dirt roads, okay, we're 22 miles down the county dirt road, and the county dirt road in Arizona is in better shape than some of the roads around my house here in San Diego County that are paved, okay? And so when you're driving down the county dirt road, you don't have potholes, but you come to San Diego County where you got potholes in the actual paved road.
Yeah.
You see the difference. Okay, that's because Arizona actually takes care of its roads, and California burns the money for everything. But so don't get fooled by the propositions. Vote, 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 and drag your friends to vote, and check with your family and make sure they vote, and like that. It's super important, super important that they vote. And if you're watching this from another state, there is a reason why in Southern California, I don't know about where Sam's at up there, but in Southern California, we call Vice President Harris Kemala for a reason, because Kemala means how bad, how mean, how bad she is, how mean she is, okay? And that's what we call her around here for a reason. We had to live under her thumb as Attorney General for a while, and so you don't want her as president. All right, anyway, go ahead, Sam. I'm sorry.
So, like we like to say, you need to be armed and informed. And here's a suggestion. If one of your family members or friends says, I don't know how to vote on all these things, then help them. Give them the information, sit down with them with their ballots, take a few minutes and help them fill in their ballots and explain to them how this is in their best interest. Super easy to do. You will be doing more to help the future of California and America if you do that with one or two people, 3 or 4 people, as many people as you can, than anything else you can do, sending money to candidates or anything like that. This is the time where activism is most important. So stay armed and informed. Go to the Gun Owners of California website and gocpac.com for all the information that you're going to need for everything that's going to be on your ballot. We invite you to do that. So if I didn't say it earlier, you got to vote. And if Joel didn't say it earlier, you got to vote.
You got to vote.
Yes.
And by the way, if you're, Californians get discouraged about that. I want to encourage you. First of all, you got Sam's working his tail off, and his staff who are working their tail off. You got CRPA; they're working their tails off. But in addition to that, you have conservative organizations working hard in this state we didn't have before. Mm-hmm. I think about Rick Grinnell's organization, Fix California. He has done a phenomenal job in getting people registered to vote who weren't before. Think about Carl DeMaio out there with his Reform California, trying to, get people registered. And so we got a lot of that going on in the state where we didn't have it before. Because if you're not from California, you're not here. What a lot of people don't realize is that this state is run by the coastal elites in the major metropolitan areas, pretty much, Los Angeles area and San Francisco. When you get into the rural areas or the farmland areas and that kind of stuff, it's largely very, very conservative country. And so California may be blue from a national perspective, but the whole of California is not blue.
That's correct.
It's just not. A lot of it is red. And but the problem is the numbers aren't necessarily there, partially because, unfortunately, the folks who would be more conservative or more pro-gun don't vote sometimes because they think that their vote doesn't count, so they don't bother. And that's what we're trying to tell you is if you're in California, your vote does mean something. Please get out and use it, even if you feel like it doesn't. So sometimes, especially in the little elections, because some of those you get in an assembly district or a Senate district for the state. Some of those can be won by that many votes or lost by 5, 10, 15 votes. And so if you don't vote, you won, right? And so we want to change the face of the California legislature. Sometimes those are 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 votes. It's important that you get out there and vote. And please follow the recommendations of Gun Owners of California, because they are no compromise. And they don't pull any punches. They're going to give you the right people to vote for. I went down the list and went, okay. I trust Sam. I don't need to figure it out when it comes to those. I just go, okay, well, Sam says, and I just tick them off. Now, maybe it's naive of me, but I've known Sam for a long time, so I don't think so. Well, what else is going on in California, Mr. Sam? Are we winning?
Well, thankfully the legislature is out of session. They will be back for...
They don't cause any trouble when they're out of session. I love it.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about your pocketbooks. You might have to worry about your wives and children. But I say that in jest. But they'll be back for 1 week in December to be sworn in, and the desk will open up for 1 week for new legislation to be sponsored, and then they'll be back in January to start this thing all over again. And our hope and prayer is if we do what we need to do in the elections, and by the way, Joel, I don't think you've probably seen this in any of the news articles, but the organizations you mentioned, Rick Grinnell, even the Republican Party, and these other organizations have done a monumental job of registering new conservative pro-constitutional voters, especially in some very important districts that we can actually win by tens of thousands. The scale for Democrat registration is pretty level. The Republican registration is going ballistic, and so there are going to be some great opportunities, I think, to push back on the anti-gun, progressive, leftist, socialist Democrats that are running the show in the state of California, and that's very, very encouraging. But we will be prepared, and hopefully with a successful presidential campaign and both the House and Senate going to the president, we will be prepared to fight like crazy to restore rights, to get things like national reciprocity. We're close to getting that through the courts, but we can do that through the legislature. We can cut ATF funding, and
say that again.
We can cut Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives funding.
Now, ATF should be a convenience store, not a government agency. Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. It should not be a government agency. By the way, I picked up this hat when we were out there in Arizona from the Trump store in Shiloh, Arizona. There's legitimately a Trump store there. Picked up this hat. So there you go. We'll wear it for the interview with Sam.
You know, some of the cases that we've been watching in the appellate courts and being sent up to the Supreme Court, like the frames and receivers, ghost guns, the bump stock issue, short barrel rifles, suppressors, and all of these things. If President Trump is elected, he can direct the ATF to pull back all of those final rules, in which case those cases will be debunked. They will go away. They will be mooted because they're no longer there. And that'll give us opportunities to press other cases to the Supreme Court to take the spots of those issues. So there are some very, very huge and positive things that will happen with the election of Donald Trump as the 47th president. And that's very exciting. So the legislature, we're going to have to deal with them, but it's going to be much more difficult. If we do our job now, it'll be much more difficult for them to continue to press the anti-gun position. Now, they're always going to try.
No, let's be super clear about that, Sam. Let's be super clear about that, Sam, because I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. Mm-hmm. It sounds to me like what you're saying is we do have a chance this election to change the dynamic in the California legislature so that they don't have a supermajority anymore in either house, and so that we have more backing. I mean, is that what you're talking about? Because when they get sworn in December, it's not the current legislature that's being sworn in. It's whoever wins in the November election if they were up for re-election. Is that correct? Correct.
100% correct.
So is there a possibility that we could make a substantive change in the California legislature that would benefit us with this election?
Yes. There's a chance that we might be able to take away the supermajority. And this is how it works. The legislature with 2/3 supermajority in both houses, the Republicans are irrelevant. They are only allowed by the Democrats to pass bills that are, wash the sidewalks and polish the stop signs and those kinds of bills. Because the Democrats don't need any of their votes. If we push back, and they are irrelevant with regards to the budget itself. They don't need them for budget votes. So if we take away the 2/3 supermajority, then the Republicans can say, we're not playing with you on the budget. No, we're not going to give you the votes that you need to pass all of these spending bills and tax increases. We're not going to play with you. The only way that we will consider it is that if you kill all these other bills, and they can give them a laundry list of bills, all the anti-gun bills, a lot of the pro-criminal, non-law enforcement bills. We want all of those dead. Then we will consider voting with you on budget issues and the financial issues. So it's super important that just by overcoming and taking away that 2/3 supermajority, the amount of impact that members of the legislature who believe in the Constitution, who believe in smaller government, fiscal responsibility, can have an inordinate impact.
I'm curious, we talk about D's and R's a lot. You got the Republicans, you got the Democrats. Sometimes, as well as I do, there's not much light between them. And other times there can be. And I think that's on a candidate per candidate basis, regardless of the letter by the name. Yeah. Having said that, we've had a decidedly hard left legislature to go with our hard left governor, who I call all kinds of things and very seldom by his name. So gruesome nuisance and all those other things. Are there candidates now that have D's by their name that are more toward the center and not so hard left that might get elected? And if so, would that also help move the ball a little bit or move the needle a little bit more in our favor?
Well, the answer is yes and no. Yes, in that there are members of the Democrat caucus who would vote with us if they were allowed to. You're correct. The radical leftists are the ones that are in charge, and they will not allow their moderate pro-business, friendly to guns and hunting and the outdoors, vote the way they want to vote unless allowing them to vote will keep them in the number to elect the speaker. So it's actually a minority of the members of the state legislature that run everything. The progressive caucus is large enough to be able to force all of their non-progressive caucus members to vote the way they want them to vote, or else they lose their finance support in campaigns. They lose their committees and their relevance in the legislature. So they rule with an iron fist. The vast majority of the Republicans are solid A's and B's. Again, you go to our website and it'll tell you where every member of the legislature, because they have a track record. And no matter what they tell us in the hallway, I support you, but I can't do it. Track record speaks. How you cast your votes is the only thing that's important. And so we base our ratings on the track records for all incumbents, Democrats and Republicans. And then on the candidates, both Democrat and Republican, we send them all a questionnaire, a very involved and long questionnaire that they have to fill out. And many of the questions are weighted. They could answer one question incorrectly and get a C or a D. And so then we will publish that information and give it to our supporters so that they know who is with them and who's against them. And that's super critical information. So understanding how the legislature works, understanding what motivates them, doing your research in your district, even if you have two Democrats running against each other, you will be able to tell if any one of them are slightly better on our side than the other, or if they're both bad. You're going to have to make a decision on other issues. But,
Sam, if somebody doesn't return that, if a candidate doesn't return the questionnaire, is there a default grade that they get? Like, you suck, you didn't return our
yes.
What do you do? Is it the you suck grade? It's a YS. You suck.
Yeah. We give them a DNR, did not respond. And then we usually explain that a did not respond meant that they refused to return the questionnaires, because we don't just send the questionnaires out. We follow up and say, hey, we haven't received your questionnaire. We need to know if you want to be rated on our ballot recommendations, or let people know where you stand on these issues. You got to let us know. And we work very hard to get them to respond. And we get all manner of excuses, Joe. The dog ate my questionnaire. The leak in the roof rained on the questionnaire, and I couldn't read any of the questions, or my staff filled it out, or or we get every excuse in the books. And when we get a questionnaire back that is inconsistent or just doesn't make sense, we'll call them back and say, hey, listen, explain to us why you voted the way you did on this question. And sometimes we learn all kinds of things, like, I'm sorry, I didn't fill it out. My staff member did, and I need to refill this out correctly. Or it is an issue that, frankly, there are a lot of members of the legislature and candidates who don't know very much about the Second Amendment or guns. And we try to clarify that for them and explain to them the impact of the questions that we have, and then we let them respond, and then we report those questions. So it's
so you give them, let me make sure I get this right. You give them a DNR, like
yes.
that.
Yes.
Which stands for do not resuscitate. Isn't that what that stands for?
Do not respond, did not respond.
No, did not. Oh, I thought it was do not resuscitate.
Well, you know what? It should mean that, especially after we've called them, emailed them, done everything we can to contact them and say, hey, listen, you need to respond to this if you want the pro-gun community in your district to know where you stand on the issues. And
otherwise, we're putting a DNR in your chest. If you go to the hospital, dude, you're done.
Yeah.
I love it. You got to laugh about this stuff once in a while.
You do.
Holy smoke. All right. So anyway, the basic lesson here, in case you haven't gotten it yet, you're watching this, is your vote does count. Go out and use it, please. It's too late to register the vote, I think, but maybe not. In California, you might be able to register the vote, 10 minutes before you vote. I don't know. Can people still register?
No, there was a deadline for, you have to register 2 weeks before the election. But if you go to the Secretary of State's website, they might have updated things, and you might have the opportunity to vote on, online up until Election Day. So no excuse.
But if you don't like
do
Trump,
your research.
You say I don't like Trump. He's obnoxious. Now, I got to be honest with you. Personally, I kind of like the guy because he's obnoxious. That's one of the reasons I like him. But he's not obnoxious personally. He's just obnoxious once in a while. And I kind of like the guy, to be honest with you. Yeah. That's me. So you can rag on me if you want. But even if you don't like the guy, you have a choice of Donald Trump or Kamala. Kamala is a known quantity. We know what she's done as vice president. Nothing. Okay, we know what she did in California as attorney general, and it was all bad. We know what she did at district attorney of San Francisco, and it was all bad. Her entire track record is bad with a capital B. Under Trump, we did have a great economy. Our gas prices were low. Our border was safer than it's ever been. Our people, other countries that are enemies of ours, were terrified of the guy, and well, they should be, and we should have a president that other countries are afraid of. That's a great thing to have happen. He did get the Abraham's Accords. He had peace in the Middle East for a while. He did a lot of great stuff. So look at the stuff that he did, not the hairdo and not the mean tweets. I would pay money right now for mean tweets, funky hair, an orange man, a little obnoxious comment once in a while, and $2.87 a gallon gas in California. 100%. Okay, 100%. So let's keep it real here. Vote for this dude right here. That's my suggestion to you.
Joel, if not for President Trump during his presidency, who appointed hundreds of Constitution-believing judges in
300 and some odd, right? 300 and some. Yep. That's just to the lower federal courts. That doesn't include the 3 Supreme Court justices.
That's right. Yeah, in appellate courts and district courts. And if not for those judges, we would not be where we are today. We right now, the last thing that we are doing is we're involved in dozens and dozens of lawsuits, either filing the lawsuits ourselves, joining with our partners, CRPA and Second Amendment Foundation, FEC, all of the other groups. We're teaming together to file lawsuits across the board. And you know what? We're winning. And that's a beautiful thing. And I think this year
Well,
we will.
you know, you've just made the reason. Look, the reason you're winning is in part because of the great work that you guys do, but the reason you're winning is because of the judges that Trump appointed.
100%. 100%.
Because if they'd been appointed by Joe Biden, you wouldn't be winning. If they'd been appointed by Barack Obama, you wouldn't be winning. If they had been appointed by Hillary Clinton, oh my gosh, you wouldn't be winning. And if they are in the future appointed by Kamala Harris, you will not be winning. That's the problem, okay?
Yeah.
We don't need Kamala to be in the White House. We don't even need her to be in the country. If we could possibly deport her to someplace else, we would, except unfortunately, she's an American. So there you go. So
Even that's suspect by some people.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, that's true, but we won't get into that. We won't get into that. Anything else we should talk about that we haven't talked about, Sam? We beat vote down everybody's throat, which I thought was pretty good. And that actually rhymed. I'm a poet and don't know it, but my feet show it. They're Longfellows.
No, you know what? Now is the time for all supporters of the Second Amendment to be active. Continue to watch GunGuyTV as a primary source for information on what's going on in the state of California. Go to the Gun Owners of California website. Go to gocpac.com for help and how to vote. Be active. You can do this from the comfort of your couch in front of your TV, and you will be doing more than many gun owners and pro hunters out there have ever done. And you can do a lot. It means so much. You send a contribution, you become a member of Gun Owners, we appreciate it, which allows us to continue to do things in all three areas, the legislature, the courts, and the elections. Yep. But be active. Now is the time. This time now. We are at a precipice, a key moment in history, and you can have an impact. Do you want to be on the sidelines, or do you want to impact the future of America? You make that choice. I hope you make the right one.
And you can do it, and all you need is one of these. Even with all the fingerprints on it. You can use, I mean, there's fingerprints all over mine because I use it. So even one of these, that's all you need, and you can do it. Okay, so be involved. Joining is great. I agree, because they need the financial support. Donate, join. If you're not in the state of California, donate to Gun Owners of California anyway. Certainly donate to Gun Owners of America. Obviously, they're the same organization, more or less, different budget. Yeah. And Sam is on the board of Gun Owners of America, so join GOA. They are amazing, and they're doing amazing work. And certainly, if you're not in California, join Gun Owners of California. Send them a check, $5. $10, whatever, you know. Somebody says, well, I don't have $5. Okay, well, don't go to Starbucks this week. They don't like you anyway. They don't like gun owners anyway. So send the money to Sam instead of buying your super nuclear double decaffeinated half calf with a twist of lemon or whatever the heck you buy in the morning. Okay, send the money to Sam for one coffee this week. Yeah. And it helps to support the fight for your rights in California. California, as Sam is fond of saying, either affects or infects the rest of the country. And I don't want somebody to California my Arizona, where my second home is, to be honest with you. And I'm sure you don't want California to California your Texas or your Nevada or your Tennessee or your Kentucky or your whatever. Okay, so let's fight the battle where the battle is to be fought. What else should we talk about? Are we all done?
Well, pretty much all done, unless you want to start talking about guns.
Oh, we can
That'll
do
be
that.
Another podcast.
We can do that. We can do that offline. We got to do a podcast. We got to get Rick and Pete involved and do that.
Let's
we haven't
do
done
that
one in a while.
Let's do
Sam,
that.
thank you so very much. Have a great week, and I really do appreciate you being on.
Joel, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Vote, 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 vote.
Vote. Thank you very much for listening to the entire thing. I am really grateful that you did that. Kind of amazed, but very grateful just the same. Don't forget to check me out on Rumble and X. Those are my primary platforms now, and it would be great to see you over there. And if you want to support the channel, you can do that by going to GunGuyTVcrew.org. Or you can click on the link in the description, or you can go to Patreon or Locals. Locals is better, honestly. And you can help out there one way or the other. Have a great week. Thank you so much for all of your support. Vote, 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 vote. And wherever you go, whatever you do, stay safe.